in my mind, as the relationship. Now, what does that mean? Okay, what it means is you have to be an example for that person, that team, that group that you're working with. You yourself are responsible for that. And now you bring that every day. Where every day when you cross over the court, just like those players, you've got to be prepared, you've got to be enthusiastic, and you have got to have done your work in preparation for that workout. And the one thing that I learned, and especially as you go higher, they know. They know. You never demand respect. You respect me. No, it's not what it is. You command respect with all the other stuff, with your preparation, with your enthusiasm, with the climate that you have for that workout. And again, so as you go forward, it's your responsibility. And guess what you'll find? The deeper and the more you develop that relationship, the better it is for everybody. And I can tell you all the coaches that I've had throughout my career as a player and all the ones that I worked with and how I learned. I am just a combination of all the people that helped me. And you know what? People who are in coaching are teachers, okay? And you have a tremendous responsibility in my mind, and I don't take it lightly, that we, every single day, be prepared for what you're going to be doing that day. And I gotta tell you, as you go forward, one of the questions that you need to think about is, how can I get it deeper? So if you've done your work and you've prepared for that workout, you want to tell Guy why you're doing this. Okay? You're not just doing it just to do it, because guess what that adds? That adds a depth of knowledge. It adds a depth of understanding for him. So whenever you do something with a group or an individual, show them, you explain it, you demonstrate it, you correct if you need to, and then you reinforce. But tell them why. Because, again, it will add to that layer. Why? Guy, why are you following through until the ball touches the ground? Why are you doing it? All of a sudden now they kind of put it down. Okay, I get it. I get it. So again, that is huge. What you, as you go into it, the plan is going to be specific to who you're working with. And again, I'm not sure the levels we have right here, but how detailed are you going to get? Okay, some things come before other things. So what does that mean? That means, okay, if Lauren has a great handle going on her left, and what happens is you have to know who you're working with, where they are, because you want to always reinforce, be positive, and nudge them a little bit forward. Okay? And that again is the relationship that you have. It's taking the time and the preparation to get it there. And then how and where are we going to do that? So that's your job, in my mind. I take my responsibility very, very, very seriously. And so once you have that, one thing that I want to talk a lot about right now is what you tell them. Okay, now we have some players here. Okay, we have some players here, so just understand this. This is for the coaches, but this is also for your teammates. And that is, what you focus on is the work, not the results. Because it doesn't matter what that result is, who cares? Let's get better. You win 10 championships in a row, Who cares? Let's get better. You just lost 15 in a row. Who cares? Let's get better. Because guess what? Success is a journey. I mean, I promise you, after we won the first championship in Miami, Coach Spolster and I are by the pool with a group of friends. He's already asking, what do we need for the next one? That's the way it is. Who cares? Let's get better. So now, what that means is, there's a lot of different ways to say it. Stephen Covey would call it sharpen the saw. Tony Robbins would say, and I use this all the time. I ask our guys, and I try to instill in them the fact that they are you, a Kanai warrior. You know what a Kanai warrior is? Someone who takes to heart constant and never-ending improvement. By the way, exclamation point. Where every single day you wake up and you ask yourself, how am I going to improve today? How am I going to be a better person? You know, the questions that we ask ourselves, the questions you ask yourselves as a coach, what does this team need from me today? You know, is there a different way to reach them? What am I not doing correct right now? So those questions direct you as long as they are empowering. And that goes back to the growth mindset. What we think about grows. If you think about solutions, they grow. If you think about the problems and woe is me, guess what? It grows. And it's an amazing thing, this amazing mind that we have, that's how it is. So, let's go back. You develop the relationship. You do your homework. You set a great practice up. Now it's time. So you are always responsible for your energy that you bring to that. Oh, and guess what? The more energy I have is the more energy I use is the more energy I have. Don't ever tell me I don't have energy. If you do, I'm gonna prove that you are so wrong. Now, sometimes it gets a little rough with my wife, but that's a whole other thing, right? But that's something that you are totally in control of. Am is a walking Geiger counter to limiting beliefs. What does that mean? It means that your language is like a fingerprint. The words that you say matter. Because guess what? They tell the world who you are. What does that mean? Little hint. Any word that you follow, I am with, defines you. I'm too slow. Whatever it is. And guess what? Your mind is always listening. So I'm just too slow. I can't help it. No. You focus on how I can improve. So that word that you tell yourself is vital. Because guess what? You can't help it. Right now, stop thinking. Can't do it. Can't do it. So, you have to try to get your mind in a place where you're always believing in yourself and you're always looking and asking good questions. How can I become a better player today? That's a great question, right? Okay. So, let's go back. Get the relationship. You learn and see where they are as a player. You develop a plan. You go back and you do your work and you make adjustments as you go through because they're not going to stay the same, are they? You keep that as a growth. You keep that so you as a person represent everything that you want them to be. Coach Wooden, who changed my life when I went and met with him for those who, youngsters or whoever who don't know who he was, but he had won 10 national championships for UCLA, and arguably the most learned man I've ever met. And I was traveling the country one year trying to, because I got let go on Halloween. So it's coming up, my anniversary of that little event. So
what school? Where at Iona?
No, that was at University of Florida.
Yeah.
We had won the SEC championship the year before. We had everybody coming back. But head coach and the AD were at odds. And long story short is, 2 weeks into the season, everybody back. Phil, hate to do this, but we're going to have to let you go. You have to resign. But guess what? What did I say about questions? Right?
That's the right school.
Yes.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
that's why this is good. So you know what I asked that next day. Now, true story. So my eyes are still moist. I had to call my mom and dad. It was the first time my life was on a way up. We were ready to go, and now I had to call and say it just wasn't a good call, right? So now I'm in my car. I'm driving back to my place. 3 TV stations are outside my condo. They want a statement, right? It was Halloween. I had 2 roommates that were former players. So, as guys will do, take care of the media, walk into my own place, and my who are now really good friends of mine go, "Hey, what are you dressing up for tonight, coach?" But I will tell you this. That next day, they went about their normal lives. Here I am, and I got nowhere to go. But guess what? As I said earlier, the power of questions. Why? Because you're thinking. You can't stop thinking, but guess what you can do? You can empower yourself to ask good questions. I asked myself, how can I make this the greatest year of my life? Whoa, right? Well, it changes everything. So now, I start thinking, well, this may be the only year I'm not coaching my own team. Everybody else started. We were ready. We were nationally ranked. We were ready to rock and roll. But now I don't have a job. So how can I make this the greatest year of my life? Well, guess what? Coaching is like musical chairs. Okay? If you're choosing it as a profession, it's like musical chairs. When the season starts, no music. Everybody's sitting down in the chair. I got kicked off of mine. They just said, get out of here. So now, I knew that everybody else was playing. So I went and visited 16 different universities. So I got in my car, drove 14 hours, and I was at Indiana's practice the next day. 4 days. Coach Knight, legendary. So I was learning from all these. The reason why I told this story is Coach Wooden, the Wizard of Westwood. Do your research on him. He's an unbelievable. He's a better person than he was a coach. I'm going to UCLA's game. I'm walking into the arena. The team is warming up right there. There's the cheerleaders right there. Coach Wooden is in the stands? That's crazy. I walk up, and I had to wait online. There was 4 people ahead of me to go talk to him. I go, Coach, my name is Phil Weber. I travel around the country to learn as much about the game as possible. It'd be the highlight of my trip if I could spend some time with him. I said, sure, Phil, call me 1 o'clock. Call me on Monday. This was Saturday. I'm set to go back to Gainesville on Tuesday. I call him Monday. Coach, this is Phil Weber. Remember his? Sure, Phil, come on over about 1 o'clock. Oh my God, Coach, this is nutty, right? So I hopped in my rent-a-car, the Wizard. I turned the radio was on, but I couldn't hear what he was saying because I'm off to see the Wizard. The man was the most articulate and learned man I've ever met. He would ask me, I asked him about leadership, and he broke into poems because he was so learned. The written word or spoken plea can teach the youth what they ought to be. There are all the books on all the shelves. It's what the teachers are themselves. You do it by example. We started talking about adversity. What happens when the season's going on and stuff happens? Again, come on. When I look back, it seems to me all the grief that had to be left me. And the pain was over, stronger than I was before. We lift weights, but guess what? There's tension there, but yet we grow. Think about that. So now my mind starts changing in a whole different direction. How can we create ways to overload so we get better? Tension is good if we use it. So as coaches, back to you guys. How can you structure practices? How can you structure workouts that all of a sudden now there's more tension so you can see the incremental, you're getting better. So, now what we'll do, just because I'd like to hear some questions, any kind of general thoughts, what levels, practices, what do you have, and I'll try to do my best, do my best to answer. Question, yes?
Yes, I'm coaching rec league
Yep.
girls, and excuse me, I guess I'm having a hard time trying to develop them through the season because a lot of them have not played before. Some have played, but I only have them 1 hour a week. So I mean, I don't know what my expectations really are. I don't know, developing.
Yeah, you know what? That's a great question. Coach Kelly and I were discussing that last night, and again, that's part of the level that you're dealing with. Because the lower you are, or the younger you are, you got to get back. The regular fundamentals is what you have to spend your time on. The team stuff, that's okay if you keep it simple and you're teaching the game. I think for so much time, it's not about so much the actual X and O's. It's more about philosophies offensively. Pass and move. You want to teach them the game, meaning it's the ball movement. You play hard and you play together. Okay, so you can work defensively. Show them some principles defensively. That always helps. And one thing, do I play a man or a zone? Well, guess what? If you care about it, I'm going to be blatantly honest. If you really care about it, your answer is always just like mine will be right now. The best man-to-man defense has principles of zoning. So it's, I can tell you different, in the NBA, we create ways to cause problems. But everything has its place in both. So it's learning that and teaching that, but keep it on a lower level. But ball handling always correlates. And later today, we're going to go through a sequential buildup of how we do that from an individual dribble to a combination dribble. I mean, a great book for you to understand is the talent code. And in the talent code, it uses a word that I like. I would do it. I just didn't have a fancy word for it. But he calls it chunking, where it's like combinations of things. So let's say, for instance, in and out, you work on the in and out dribble. Okay, that's an example. That's an individual dribble. So now what you do is you focus on that level of execution and you watch them, and you've already understand that you have to have your body coiled and the ball tight to the body, and and now you watch them do that. And I will tell you this. I learned this phrase in the 8th grade, and it has stayed with me and has probably been one of the guiding lights of all my player development. Practice doesn't make perfect. Because you can practice something perfectly wrong. And then unfortunately, like I've had many an NBA guy who somewhere along the line, they had picked up bad habits. Perfect practice makes And now that's, again, your job to be positive, to be reinforcing, to focus and make sure they're not long speeches, just short bursts of no, get your elbow in, whatever it is, so that they're always remembering and there's a mental cue to it. The mind is so powerful, with expectations, with a vision. You should always have a vision of where you're gonna go. Who you are as a player, you have to have in your mind locked in that you're going to be the best. Don't ever, and I'm sorry, I get a little carried away, ever let anybody tell you how good you are. Don't ever let anybody tell you. Because it depends on what you're willing to do to become a good player. People, if you're going to be here later today, you're going to hear it again, okay? And it's just part of it, okay?
And
they determine, no one else. You guide, you assist, you teach, you empower, but they have to do it. Now, what does that mean? That means the positive reinforcement. That means keeping that vision in their minds where they see themselves as becoming this, and if it's strong enough, it's like a magnet. Just pulls you there. But it's up to you. No one else is going to determine where you go. I don't know how high you want to go. I see a lot of skill. I don't know. Nobody knows. I'll tell you this story about Kobe. So, this is my Kobe story, okay? So, I'm working with a bunch of guys. I'm not in the league yet. And the power agent, Arntel, asked me to work with Kobe after his rookie year. Now, he didn't start his rookie year. He was a good player. They really liked, obviously he was really unbelievably talented. Not to take anything from him. But his agent wanted me to work on his shooting. So every day I would have 3 workouts. So, ironically, Rob Pelinka, who's now the president of the Lakers, brings him to the workout because he was working for Arn. Kobe comes in, Rob leaves, and we go to work. We work for about an hour and 15 minutes, focusing on his shot, his lift a little bit, just get it up just a little bit. And you could see that he was fired up about it, right? So, that went for about an hour and 15 minutes. Now, I had 3 workouts in a row. I had 4 or 5 guys, NBA guys, ready to come on the court. He goes, Coach, can I stay? Yes, you're Kobe Bryant, you can stay. So, he stays, and he was by far the most intense of all those guys. Not even close. Now, they were good players. They were working hard, but you could just see the level of work ethic that he had. That workout ended. Guess what? 4 or 5 guys are waiting to come on the next. Coach, can I stay? Yes, you can stay, Kobe, no problem. Same thing. Outworked all them. We went for 8 straight days. 8 straight days. Now, we had prearranged at the start of these 8 days that he was going to go play in the LA Summer League. So we knew that was going to be the last day. So, ironically, we're at Coach Wooden's where he had all his workouts. So we're leaving that antiquated gym that I would not be in the NBA without. And we're walking down these cement stairs. I look over there and I see the Bruin. We're on this beautiful, kind of area in UCLA's campus. The school store is right there. Kobe and I are just walking out. And I was moved to say, Kobe, I can almost show you the bricks where I stopped. And I'm just like, if you keep working as hard as you're working right now, you're going to be one of the best players to ever play the game. He almost stopped me mid-sentence. And with the look in his eyes and the conviction in his voice, said, no, I am going to be the best player to ever play. So the story doesn't end there. So now, I'm blessed. I get the opportunity. Now I'm with the Phoenix Suns. We beat San Antonio in the first round of the playoffs. We got the Lakers in the second round. They beat us in game one. They had home court advantage. They beat us game one. We're up a point with 3.9 seconds to go in the game. Kobe, with Jason Kidd draped all over him, hits like this fadeaway jumper and just went in and just took our hearts. Just put them right on the table. Just take it. So now instead of going back to Phoenix 1-1 with home court advantage, it's 0-2. We lose. We're devastated. I mean, you could just feel the air in the room. Just kind of. And we lose game 3. We win game 4 on Mother's Day. But they just wanted to finish us off at home. So they finish us off. Again, the story doesn't end there. So now, where did I live last year? I lived in LA. About 6-7 days after the season, they had just won the championship. Lakers. They won with Shaq. And I go back to LA. I take a late flight. Southwest has them every hour. I go, I'm staying at a hotel right in the marina. I go to the Gold's Gym in Venice, 8 o'clock at night, on a Friday, 6 days after they cut down the Nets. Kobe Bryant is just lathered in sweat, just getting better. So I ask you, how hard do you want to work? And I look at my coaching like that. Don't ever say someone's going to outwork me. I'm going to try to get better, as good as I can. I'm going to try to learn as much as I can. Drive my wife crazy sometimes. You know, just sometimes. She thinks she's talking to me. I got the things in here because I have a book. And now, sorry, not good. But that's what it takes. Now again, those are decisions. The greatest power a person has is the power to choose. So every single day we choose who we want to be, how we want to be, and what we want to do that day. So that's the choice. You have a question? It was probably.
What was the question?
It was what was the play call for Kobe? I don't know.
Keith wants to know, man. Give it to Kobe and get out of the way.
I was at the other end, and it was right in because what you do in the NBA is you always have your defense.
Good to see you, Dennis. What's up, man? Talking about Kobe right here. Dennis.
Right where I was. Come on. So, unfortunately, I would have even more nightmares if I knew what call it was, because then we could have probably tried to stop it. Any other questions? Yes.
Coach Weber.
Yes.
How would you teach strength, conditioning, and nutrition?
Okay, so tell you about that. That's not what I do, but I will share this with you. So I had the good fortune, and it probably helped our end result, because I was with Phoenix. Now in Phoenix, we had Mike Clark, who at the time was the founder of the National Association of Sports Medicine. And we were so far advanced on soft tissue and different things as far as development. My sophomore year, just a little, one of those knucklehead and just not knowing because of information. We had a football coach as our strength and conditioning. And I literally could squat 400 pounds after my sophomore summer. But I was a slug. I couldn't move. I couldn't find jeans. It was horrible. So what I would recommend is, in that line is flexibility. And what Steve Nash was an amazing. He worked so hard. And his core, the core is so important, because if you're going to run, Well, guess what? This starts right here. That's pulling you up. So I would say you want to, body fat is the key, and everybody is different. So what works for that individual to get their body fat as low as possible, because the number one attribute of a basketball player that's really good is quickness. So we talked about questions. Guess what? That's a great question. Posed it to John last night.
My son John.
His son John last
Yeah.
night. You know, how can I do this quicker? How can I become quicker? And you got to do whatever you can, research-wise, you know, discipline-wise. Nice to have a plan, but you better be disciplined to execute that plan. You got those chocolate chip cookies right there, which, hey, let me tell you something. You know, your mind starts kicking in about how they're going to taste and the soft, hot chocolate going on there. And you got to pay the price. You know what I mean? So, as regards to it's so important because of the quickness. Now, I'll share this with you. And quickness is also mental. It's also mental. So by you teaching how to play, and one of my favorite words when I was a head coach for the Miami Heat's G League one year, and they got tired of hearing it, but it was deception. Because what is deception? Deception is a fake. Well, there's a reason why Al Pacino and those actors are so good, because you buy it. I don't care if you do it, if you try to do it. If they don't buy it, it's not working. So some of the best players had the ability that I've worked with to be deceptive. Well, guess what that means? That's mental quickness, where you're trying to see the game. And what does that come from? Well, even though there's some young guys here, all right, young girls, watching tape, watching tendencies, seeing how that is, rewinding, go forward, rewinding, welcome to my life, rewinding, look, analyze, rewind, look. How are they doing it differently? What was so incredible about Kobe, to talk about him, is he had this uncanny ability that whenever a player was like this, he was going. He was just going, psych, see ya. So there is no shortcut to that, and that's over time you learn and you grow.
And on the nutrition side, is there anything, some of the players that?
You know, it depends on what you want to. Obviously, you want to. I don't even go there. I'm on keto right now. Right? I haven't eaten yet. I'm doing intermittent fasting. So my wife thinks I try everything. But I have to tell you, I feel great. Players are going vegan and all that kind of stuff. And if it works, so that nutrition stuff, I am not the person to be talking about that. I just know that, you know, I watch what I eat and I work out every day. Okay, and it's, you know, that's my story.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Sure.
Yeah.
Kind of about by
Sure.
gentleman up there is coaching youngsters. Obviously, just exposed to the game. I would think that they are much more receptive to coaching than perhaps someone, as you mentioned before, you've encountered people at the professional level who you might not necessarily agree with how they shoot free throws, or their stats may indicate that there's a deficiency in their game. But you know, hey, coach, in the NBA, you're going to correct me at this point. How do you get them to buy in at that level?
Well, I would never try to change Steve Nash's free throw career. You know what I mean? But what I'm saying, if there's a level of focus that we're going to have, then you know you show them. The eye in the sky doesn't lie. Video doesn't lie. Statistics don't lie. I mean, I had an issue with a player when I was coaching in Sioux Falls, which is Miami's G League. And for you players, understand this. So now we were the development team for the Miami Heat. Okay? We had 4 guys who went up from our team to the Heat because they were playing well. And one of our players couldn't understand why he wasn't going up. He had 52 in one game. 52. He had game, but he wasn't efficient. So you try to explain what you focus on matters. So you show him that points don't matter because you're not going to be Dwayne Wade. You're going to play with Dwayne Wade. And if you can't, and his three-point percentage was not good, his assist to turnover ratio was not good. So guess what? You're not going up. If you bring this up, you show you have the aptitude to do this, then you have a chance. And unfortunately, he still hasn't been able to. He's made a lot of money over in Europe, and he was a really good player. But efficiency is everything. And what is efficiency? Efficiency is good decisions. So when you guys take shots, it's not only the form, it's the selection. If you're off balance, and if you're not, you're just getting it to get that FGA up, just get me the rock, right? Yeah, that's where the basketball IQ comes in. And, your shooting percentage is definitely, your assist to turnover ratio and your shooting percentages correlate your basketball IQ in my mind.
Phil, I have a kind of a supportive question where you go back to the player who's in Europe and that player has done well financially and he's obviously had some success, right? But you go back to when he was on the G League team with the Heat and you were making commentary, you and the other coaches, as to what that player had to do to become a player in the NBA. So the word that comes to mind is coachability. You're giving that player information, right? What does that player do with that coaching? And the ability to be coachable.
Are they receptive?
Yeah. Well, being receptive, and again, going back to discipline, matters. Because if you can want to do anything, but are you going to get up every morning and pay the price? Like I'll tell you the story. I'll tell you my shooting story with Amari, because I think it's important, and it's important. Listen to this one. So Amari came to us as right out of high school. Okay, it was when that high school players could still go from high school to the NBA, and he started off with us, and his form, wasn't perfect. There were some things that I felt would need. So another coach actually was working with him, and we take over. Mike D'Antoni takes over, and I go, Mike, do you mind if I work on him? He says, we're not going anywhere. We ended up winning only 29 games.
It's with the Suns.
This is with Phoenix Suns. So I explained to Amari, and I